Hello, everybody. We're about to be joined by the radio station, so here we go. Hey, welcome back, everybody. Craig Peterson here, WGAN and elsewhere. Hopefully you're able to join me on Facebook Live this week, and we spent some time talking about the articles and answering questions for everybody. And of course, you'll find that online right now, kind of all over the place. Make sure you get my weekly newsletter. It'll keep you up to date on all the latest security topics and some of the cooler new technology out there that I think is or maybe isn't ready for prime time. I'm going to have a cool guest next week too. I used to do a lot of guests. I had like a dozen a show back when I had a 3-hour show. But next week we're going to talk with a buddy of mine who is actually fairly well known. He's written a book about sugar, and you probably know, if you've been listening to me for a while, not all that long, but a while, you know that I have been very conscious about my health and doing the intermittent fasting thing and stuff. And so we'll talk to him about what he has found. You might remember I did the Atkins thing some years ago, but we'll be talking with him a little bit about that too, I'm sure, next week. So Barry Friedman will be my guest, and I will probably be next week. We've got to figure out the calendars first. Oh, I hate it when that happens. Sorry about that. A little bit of a coughing fit. Okay, so let's get into the article right now. And this has to do with email compromise. Now, we all have email accounts, right? You got them, I got them, whether they're on Google, shame on you, or if they are Microsoft Office 365. Okay, depends on which level you have. Or if you host them yourself, which is what we've been doing for decades now for ourselves and our clients. I like that because they have more control. I don't have the problems like we had with Microsoft this week with Office 365 for some of our clients. But when you have email, there's a certain type of exposure that you have. We talked earlier about this whole problem with the COVID-19, with the coronavirus, and how they're using it right now to get you to click on links in phishing attacks, click on links in SMS, those are called smishing, to get you to do something that ultimately you shouldn't do, because they're using it to download nastiness. And it can be nastiness in the form of ransomware, it can be nastiness in the form of software that is being installed on your computer to use your computer's resources. Maybe as part of a denial of service attack, maybe to attack other people and other computers that are out there, right? It's all pretty darn evil. Well, the FBI put together some numbers because there's this thing called a business email compromise. That's only part of the problem, because it isn't just business email that can be a problem here. It's also our personal emails. So we're finding on the personal side that people are getting emails that are, again, from bad guys, but what they're trying to do is get you to go a little bit further. So a lot of them, for instance, are based around dating sites. So people looking for companionship, they might be out on one of these websites and they meet somebody. Gee, more coughing. Meet somebody, and as they've met that person, they kind of go back and forth, and how are you? Oh my, we have so much in common. And they're trying to scam you. That is a very, very big and prevalent thing right now, because so many people are just trying to find somebody that they can love, someone they can spend some time with, and enjoy company. And you know, hell, I get that, pardon my French, but this is a real tough time in the world. There's so many people that are so ostracized, that are blocked off from other people, that are just looking for something, anything, right? It doesn't even have to be love. As I said, it can just be companionship. So the FBI has been warning about that. And then we've got these business email attacks that what's happening here is oftentimes it's spear phishing. They're going after the owner of a company. And frankly, some of these dating things are spear phishing too. because they know that somebody who's a little bit older might have some money that they can get out of you. And they'll ask you, hey, listen, my uncle, cousin has this medical bill, and we really need the money. Could I get $10,000 from you? And people are sending it. In the business email accounts, it's a little bit different. So here's another article from our friends over at Dark Reading that's up at my website as well. But it's saying back in 2013, scams often started with the spoofing of a CEO or CFO's email account. Fraudsters sent emails appearing to come from these execs to convince employees to send wire transfers to fake accounts. Now, we know that within the last 6 months, this has gone to the next level, where they are using computers to imitate the boss's voice, and they've been able to take millions. Anyhow, the article goes on. Since then, business email compromise has evolved to include the compromise of personal and vendor emails, spoofed lawyer email accounts, and requests for W-2 data. Of course, tax season, everybody. This is a big one, W-2 right now. The IRS is warning about that. Attackers often target the real estate sector and or make requests for expensive gift cards. In 2019, the Internet Crime Center saw an increase in business email compromise complaints related to the diversion of payroll money. So the attackers send a fake email to human resources or payroll department requesting an update to a specific employee's direct deposit information. This is really, really big, and you look at these numbers, we're talking about 1.7 billion in losses. That's absolutely huge amounts of money. In 2019, they had 500,000 complaints come in, costing organizations $3.5 billion overall. That's up almost $3 billion from 2018. Absolutely huge. So we have to be very, very careful. There are some reports out there, email fraud and identity deception trends that are out there about the attackers, what they're doing. Rise in hybrid attacks in which a victim receives an email making a request and simultaneously receives a text message from a spoof number designed to seem like the same person, saying they just sent an email. It is highly targeted and also highly effective. So you've got to be careful of all of this. We have to be careful of all of this. If we're business people, we have to be particularly careful about all of this. Government agencies. Did you see what happened in Atlanta in the last year? How they got nailed multiple times. And it was ransomware getting in. Some of it was some business email compromises. We've had cities all over the country who have fallen victim to the business email compromise, and they have wired money to vendors that just don't exist, et cetera, et cetera. We have to be very careful. So how do you avoid this? First of all, don't send money to people that you really don't know. You know, I'm thinking about those of us that are looking for companionship, friendship, maybe for a new lover, somebody that we can spend the rest of our lives with. Don't send them money. Really don't, no matter how bad that sob story is. And then, if we're business people, be doubly careful. Verify everything via the phone. So the boss tells you that they need to move some money into another account, call the boss. You have their number. Don't call the number in the email. If you are getting a contact in HR from an employee saying, hey, I want you to start direct depositing into my new account, here's the account number, call back and verify it. Right? That's always the case. You know, a police officer pulls you over at the side of the road, you have a good chance that it's really a police officer because they're in a marked car, they have the blue lights going, they have a police officer's uniform on. You just don't know even in that case. So be extra cautious out there. Man, when we come back, we've got one more article for the day. I can't believe that it's gone so fast. We're going to talk about the most secure messaging app out there, how you can get it, how you can use it. So stick around. You're listening to Craig Peterson on WGAN, and of course, Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Man, we're going overboard this week. Stick around because we'll be right back. And those people on Facebook Live, absolutely, we're going to end the Facebook Live session now because I got to set up for the next one for the last segment of this week's show. But thanks for being with us. Make sure you give us a thumbs up, the likes, and the shares. I really appreciate it. Stick around. We'll be right back.